What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today, I want to go ahead and bring you through the journey of my trading day, starting red and bringing it back to green, right? The grind, the battle that sometimes it takes during a trading day after starting red, after getting the first trade of the day wrong, getting that first loss under your belt, focusing up, focusing on levels, looking for more trades, looking for those setups that can battle back and bring you back to that green. I want to go ahead and break down that day today. That was my day. I started the day down around $4,000, ending the day up about $1,800. So there was a large swing in my P&L. I want to bring you through every single trade that I took today that brought me from red, or that started me red, and that brought me back to green. We know as traders, not every day is just start green, end green. There's going to be those grind days, those battle days. And I want to go ahead and use today as a way to share with you how I battled back, the trades that I took. I think this is a good education, a good real-life example of how we don't always start that day perfect. We get that first trade wrong, but we have to continue to stay focused and trust our system. And today is a great example of me staying focused, trusting that system, ending the day back in the green because I stuck to the game plan. And that's what today's going to be all about. So press that like button if you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe to the channel for more. Let's jump into the charts. Let's jump right into the trades that I took today. All right, guys. So here is my trading day here on TradeZilla, where I do all of my journaling after my trading day. You guys can see here my net P&L on the day. I have no positions overnight, is around $1,800. I took about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trades today. You can see 8 total trades, 4 winners, 4 losers. But I end the day green, right? So risk management coming into play, very important here. The trades that I took that were green outweighed the losing trades. This is going to happen. We're not going to have perfect win rates every day. And you can see here on the left side, my equity curve, you can see there were times today where I was down around $4,000 and ended the day green around $1,800. So about a $6,000 swing intraday today. Let's go through the list, through every single trade. I'm going to walk you through every single trade that we took today. We're going to start the day off with this Meta trade. So we're going to click into Meta. You're going to see I lost about 34% on this trade. I lost $3,800. This is how I started the day. Let me go ahead and first share with you this trade, break down exactly why I took this loss and what I was looking for. So here on Meta, right, you can see this was the chart coming into today. I was looking to see if I could long this 433 level. You guys can see we had 433. We had 433 lows from Friday. And I was looking to see if Meta could pull back and if I could use that level as a long entry. Now, this trade was a too early of an entry, right? So that's what I'm going to go ahead and journal today after I look back at this trade. If we go into this, right, we go into this 2-minute time frame, we go into today's price action, this was too early of an entry. And that is what I'm going to go ahead and put in TradeZilla. So if I go here, I can do mistakes, right? The mistakes that I made, early entry, right? Right there. So I know in the future that that loss came from an early entry. And here is why this was an early entry. I wanted to long 433. My entry was right here. I did not wait for 433 to get tested. This is a mistake. This is something I need to continue to work on. Because really, if I would have waited for 433 to enter, I probably would have been able to come out with a nice profit. This was the level, and this was the game plan that I was looking for to long 433. Now, if we pull up TradeZilla, you can see my entry was right here at around 935. The price was still around 437. So it was too early of an entry. You can see I got in here, exited here, took my loss on this drive lower. Now, I did take this trade again later in the day, and you're going to see that because it got back to my level, and I went ahead and I longed it again, trusting that system, trusting that strategy, which I was able to make some money back off of. So right here, this trade was incorrect because, first of all, you can see I entered too early. I entered near that 100 SMA. There were some clear rejections up here, which I should not have entered so early. I was sort of front-running it after seeing that drop early morning. So I figured, hey, Meta dropped aggressively down towards that 433. It's starting to recover off of it. I might be able to play one of those pullback longs on Meta. That was sort of the idea at the time. But you can see here, this is a great example of if it doesn't touch the level, be careful, right? It has to touch that level. It has to actually get back down to that level before you take that trade. If I go to the 5-minute chart and I go to day over day, you can see Meta did bounce off that 433, off that Friday low, which was my game plan. but the entry was too early and I had to get stopped out of the trade. That's how I started the day, right? I started the day with an early morning loss because I entered too early. I did not wait for that level to get hit. That is a problem. That is something I need to continue to work on. Now, if we go back to TradeZilla, you can see my next trade of the day was Meta once again, and I was able to make back some of those losses on Meta here later day. You can see I once again entered Meta as it got actually down into my level, right? And I was able to make about $1,300, make about 12% on this trade, cutting back some of those losses that I had from early morning. You can see I entered long, entered long, entered long, and exited most of my position up at 437. So I was able to take that trade, that original trade idea, which was too long 433, and I was able to make back some of those profits, taking those profits off as we started to see those rejections at that 100 SMA. So here on Meta, you can sort of see, right? If I would have just avoided that early morning entry and I would have stayed a little bit more patient for us to actually pull back to that demand zone, which was that 433 level, I would have started the day green instead of red, right? So a good example here, good sort of realization of, okay, early morning, sometimes we get a little bit anxious, press that button a little bit too quick. Let's wait for our levels to hit. And if I would have done that a little bit better today, I would have avoided that early morning loss and I would have started the day on a nice little green trade. So let's move on to the next trade. This is trade number 3 of the day, and this was a beauty. I love this trade from start to finish. I think this was one of my cleanest trades of the day. I was rarely in any or barely in any type of drawdown on this trade. If I go down to the running P&L, you can see I was never in any type of real drawdown on this position. From entry to exit, it was pretty much perfection, and this is why I did it. So you can see made about 20% on NVIDIA, 6 contracts, $2,700. This flipped me back to green on the day at the time, right? And you can see I entered right here around that, right around that 9:45 to 10 o'clock time frame. Why did I enter NVIDIA where I did? Well, let's go ahead and break down NVIDIA today. So today, coming into the day, I was always interested. If you guys come to the pre-market live stream, you know I was interested in the pullback longs on NVIDIA. There were a few levels that I was looking for pullback longs into. I was looking at both the 860 as well as the 850. I was also talking about the potential of NVIDIA coming back down into that stacked SMA. You can see right here, we had the 20 and 50 SMA stacked up right next to each other today. So I was really focused this morning on, okay, let's look to see where does NVIDIA pull back to, right? Where can we get a pullback long on NVIDIA? I know NVIDIA has been a strong name, and there's always those morning pullbacks. So let's go ahead and keep an eye on where can we look for that morning pullback to come down into, and where can we look to scalp this thing back to the upside. So you can see right here. Let me go ahead and zoom in. The first thing that I was watching was, number one, that 860, and then that 850, and then that daily 20 and 50 SMA, which was right around that 853. Now, what you can see here is we got under that 860 level. We did not hold there. We came back down into that daily SMA, that 20 and 50, and we started to see some hold at that level. So my game plan here, this is how I thought out this trade and how I thought about it with the group. I said, I'm going to go ahead and attempt a long here at this 850, 853 area with a stop loss under 850, right? So if I enter here, I see I'm starting to see that hold at the daily 20 and 50 SMA. I know my risk is down to 850, and my reward here was back to the high of day, right? This was what I was looking for. I was looking for NVIDIA to pull back to that 850 demand or that 20 and 50 SMA and see if I could trade it back to the upside after sort of that dip and rip type trade. Now you can see we got a good entry and an initial pop to the upside. 860, we saw rejections. But after rejecting that 860, you can see NVIDIA created that double bottom low right at that daily SMA. This was a beautiful hold on NVIDIA. And if I go back to my trade, you can see I had an entry here. I entered again after we held that daily SMA, taking profits on the pop for a nice 20% gain. So here was the trade, right? We can go back. I knew 850 was a potential hold level, 850 and 850. So I started to see that hold come in early morning. I started to see the hold. I started to realize that buyers were stepping up at that SMA. I gave it an early entry, right? An entry point with that stop loss under 850, and I was going to stay in it as long as we were above that level. We had a little pullback, but once again, that SMA level held up, right? And created that next push. Nice 20% profit, scaling out into the move to the upside. Very nice trade there off that daily 20 and 50 SMA. So after those 3 trades, you can see I was up on the day, I was green on the day, and I was looking to see where that next opportunity was. The next opportunity was Tesla, and this was the biggest trade of the day. Tesla, $5,796. Why did I long where I did? You guys can see right here. This was Tesla, and we had a very nice entry off this 184 hold today. I made about 44% on this, had 25 contracts, making about $6,000 on this trade. Why did I long Tesla where I did? Primarily right here and a little bit more right here. There's 2 reasons why I entered Tesla here and entered Tesla here at the 184 and the 190. So let me go ahead and break down why I entered Tesla where I did today and how I made that about $6,000 profit. So if I zoom out, let's look at Tesla. We all knew Tesla was a beast today, right? We all knew who Tesla. We woke up to Tesla up a lot. And I know a lot of people were looking for Tesla early morning. Now, if you came to the pre-market live stream, we talked about, hey, this is a huge Tesla upside, but let's go ahead and make sure that we look for a pullback, right? Let's make sure we get some opportunity for a pullback, actually look to see if Tesla could pull back and hold a key level. That's what we wanted to see coming into the day. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out these levels real quick, and then we'll break down exactly why I longed where I did. So the first level that I was looking for Tesla to pull back to today was 180. Now, I knew 180 was a little bit far-fetched. I didn't know if Tesla would be able to come all the way back to that 180, so I was sort of looking at, okay, where else do I see some levels here on Tesla? Well, if I zoom in here on the hourly chart, you can see, guys, we had a high, a high, a high, and a very clear high. Where? Right at $184 per share. This is on the hourly chart. We had multiple highs come in at $184 per share, and we were above that in the pre-market. So like I always say, break and retest, right? I wanted a retest of that 184 level. So if we go into the 5-minute chart today, right? Let's make this the after hours, and you guys can see early morning Tesla rejected that 190, right? We saw that 190 rejection. Where did we come right down into? We came into that 184, right? That very clean 184 level. And I started to see Tesla have buyers stepping up at that 184 level. And this is exactly where I entered Tesla long, right? Because at this point, I could say, okay, I'm going to attempt this 184 level. I'm starting to see some buying step in, and I can have my stop loss right under that level, right? 184 is my level. I can set up my stop loss under that 184 and see if Tesla can hold and push to the upside. And that is exactly what Tesla did. We found that level on the larger term time frame. We watched how it reacted in the short term, and we used that longer term level to set up our short term trades. So you can see we got a big pullback to 184, started to get that willingness to hold. I was entering the market long here, looking for that upside trade. You can see right here, these were our entries, all traded live with the group today, scaling out as we got our push. Now, the second entry that I took was over 190. It was right here. Now, why did I look for that break and retest hold of 190? Well, we got to go back to the hourly chart, right? We'll go back to the hourly chart. We'll zoom out and get more time, and I will show you guys why 190 was so important. So if we go back to here, right, this is back on February 20th and February 26th, we can see there was a very clear low that formed at $190 per share. This was also a very clear rejection that led to more downside on Tesla after failing back below that 190 level. If we go into the short-term time frames today, right, let's jump into short-term time frames. We have that level from the hourly chart, so we're using that larger term level and watching how it reacts on the intraday. So we can see, right, on the 5-minute chart, look at this. We had an early morning rejection of 190, right? But later in the day, look at these candles that held over 190. You can see we had 1, 2, 3 very clear candles above 190. And what I did there was I told the group saying, hey, I can now set up a long with a stop loss under 190, looking for that upside continuation, right? Because I can now use that very clear previous day high or that previous high a day at 190, which I also know is a very important previous hourly level. And I know that if Tesla is able to break and hold above that level, it should result in some more buying. So you can see, as Tesla got over 190 and held that level, I was entering long, looking for more upside, scalping out into that 197 high, taking all my profits there, about a 44% win. Now, why did I sell Tesla where I did, right? Why did I sell Tesla where I did? I know a lot of people always ask, how do you know when to sell your positions? Well, I don't sell my positions based off anything but technicals, right? Technical analysis, rejection points, potential rejection points. This is where I'm looking to take my profits. So why did I sell Tesla up into this push into 197? And why was that the high of day on Tesla? That's not a real candle. Okay. That was a crazy candle. It's not real. Just a little little bit of a glitch candle on TOS there. Almost caused a panic attack. Anyways, right? Why did I sell Tesla into this 197? And why did this end up being the high of day, being one of the best entry exit points of the day on longs? It's because this was the 100 SMA, right? You guys can see right here. If we go back to the hourly, let's get a little bit more time. This was both a 100 SMA, which you can see right here. That green line is our 100 SMA. Not only is it that, if we go over here, look at this 198.50 level, right? You can see right here, 198.50, 198.50, 198.50, and some previous lows all right here at 198.50. So I knew as we were approaching that level, there's a potential for rejections. So if we go here, you can see 198.50 was that rejection point of the day, and I knew that I needed to start to take some profits as we pushed into that supply and as we were rejecting that 100 SMA, formulating my exits based off rejection points, right? Not just taking random exits, taking random positions off. I'm going to try to hold some positions, hold some runners to push into those next major supply. And that was exactly where Tesla saw the rejections and failed to move higher for the rest of the day, right at that 198.50 level. That was Tesla, and that put me nicely green on the day. PA&W I'm not going to cover. This was like an in and out trade that I just sort of forgot about and just sort of took off. So nothing really there. I was in it and out of it within minutes. So I'll show you real quick. You can see I was in and out within minutes. I just didn't really like it. I was green on the day, and I said, hey, let's not start taking some random trades here. I'm happy I got out when I did. You can see PA&W did not do anything for the rest of the day. So a good sort of in and out, just took that quick loss. Now, here's some trades that we're going to review on NVIDIA, which were losers, right? They were losers, but they were proper ideas. And so let me go ahead and review both this entry, right? And then also this loss here. So we have two of these losers. You can see it ended up being the right idea, but I was sort of getting chopped up on NVIDIA during this 865 hold. Overall, I lost about $5,000 on NVIDIA. Later day, gave back some profits. You can see I still ended the day up about $2,000. If I didn't take these trades, obviously it would be a bigger day. But let me go ahead and break down just in general my idea on NVIDIA, why I was looking for it to hold, how it ended up being the right place to be long. However, it just took way too long. It was way too choppy, and I ended up just taking that loss and moving on. So here's NVIDIA. I was looking for 865 to hold intraday. You can see we had some 865 holds here on Friday, and we started to see NVIDIA, if we go and zoom in, we started to see NVIDIA very well maintain that 865. This was also the VWAP level. Now, let me go ahead and show you VWAP. Let me put that on, and you guys will be able to see that this is also the VWAP level. Now, this is a good example of sometimes a stock just not moving with the overall market. That's pretty much what got me caught up today on NVIDIA. I saw 865 holding very nicely. I saw this little downtrend that was forming intraday that I was very interested in seeing if it could hold and pop to the upside, right? Which it did end up doing. But it was just so slow intraday, and it was so unconnected from the overall market that I did not want to hold it any longer than I did. So you can see right here, we had that 865 level and that 865 level. If I go to my entries, you can see most of my entries were sort of looking for that 865 to hold, right? 865 to hold there. And then right here, same thing, 865, looking for it to hold. I was entering here looking for that push to the upside, using that 865 as my stop loss level. Now, if we go into the 2-minute chart, I'm going to break this down in the 2-minute chart. It ended up being a fantastic idea, which if I did hold the whole position, would have actually resulted in a very, very big win, right? 865, you had this little downtrending move, sort of choppy move back to the downside that never broke under that 865. Well, eventually, we got that pop, we got that continuation, which is exactly what I was looking for. During this time, the market was pushing higher, right? The market was strong, it was continuing, there was good upside on the market, but NVIDIA was pretty much dead. And what I wanted to do at this time, which is maybe right, maybe not right to do, is I was sort of in damage limitation mode. I was green on the day. I was in a trade that was just not really working with the market, something that I don't typically like to hold. I want to see things react to the overall market. I want to see NVIDIA moving higher if the market's moving higher. If I'm not seeing that, I need to be careful, right? I need to be careful of there being some kind of a disconnect. I want to see stocks move with the overall market. And during this time period on NVIDIA, there was really no movement on the market. There was a slight grind to the upside on the SPY and on the ES. You guys can see right here. SPY and ES were sort of grinding to the upside here after 11 o'clock. You can see all right here around that 11:30, 11 o'clock time frame. But during that time, 11:30, 11 o'clock time frame was right here, right? We were not going anywhere. Eventually, NVIDIA got a little bit of juice around 12 o'clock, which is where you can see right here. If I go to the second trade, you can see I started to exit the position. So as we started to get that push, I was exiting, and exiting. I finally got a little bit of a push to the upside, but I was out of majority of the position, so I wasn't able to get back to green, right? I didn't hold enough in this certain trade to get back to green on this push. I was sort of de-risking. I was saying to the group, hey, I really like this setup. It's really still looking great, but I'm going to start to take some losses here. I'm going to take losses here because I know I'm back to green. I know if I sort of de-risk here, I can still walk away on a good day. If it does work out, I'll hold some runners to sort of recoup some of those losses. You guys will see that on Twitter if you follow my Twitter. I kept you updated on this one. But I was just seeing too much disconnect on the market to stay in it with full size, and that's why I did end up red on a trade that really did do what I wanted it to do, but I was sort of de-risking, didn't have enough size in NVIDIA by the time it started to move. Unfortunate, but I think I did, for me, the right thing. If I'm green on the day and I'm in a trade that's not quite vibing with what I'm seeing, right, I'm not really that confident, I'm going to de-risk, I'm going to take it off, I'm going to look for the next trade, the next day, the next opportunity. I'm not going to just stare at something for hours and hope that it works out. So that was sort of the situation. Of course, on the flip side, I could have said, hey, as long as it's over 865, I'm staying in this thing long. That obviously would have been the right and the large profit move. But guys, at the end of the day, we're human. I'm here to tell you that I was tired of looking at it, right? And this is going to happen, and sometimes it's a mistake. I'm not saying that this trade was perfect on NVIDIA. I was tired of watching NVIDIA do nothing. I was de-risking it. I was telling to the group, I'm going to give up on this one. If I get that upside, I'll have a runner. I'll have 1 or 2 contracts, but I'm going to sort of get rid of my full size, and that is why I ended up taking a loss there on NVIDIA. 865 ended up holding all day, which was a very good level, and if you guys longed it off that, congratulations. Last trade of the day, and I know this video is getting a little bit long, but I wanted to review all these trades with you, sort of give you my mindset. You can see on NVIDIA, I only lost 7%, right? 7% there and about 15% there. Just larger size, that's why the numbers are larger. Overall, trade idea was perfect, but it took too long, and it wasn't really sort of correlated with that market. Last trade of the day here, guys, was SPY, and you know what I'm going to do? If you want to see this SPY trade, go ahead and go to my Instagram. I have it live for you to watch. Go to my Instagram, go to my Twitter. I'll pop them up on the screen for you to see. Both the handles to my Instagram and my Twitter account. Go check that out. If you want to see this SPY trade where I made about 16%, about $2,000, I have the entire trade recorded live. Go follow me on my socials. You can go ahead and watch that there. So guys, overall, about a $2,000 day for me trading. It was up, it was down, there was wins, there was losses. I battled back, I stuck to my plan, I stuck to my levels, and hope you guys learned something in today's video. Every trade that I took today reviewed for you guys, mindset, levels, ideas. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, press that like button. Make sure to go check out that SPY live trade on my Instagram, on my Twitter. Subscribe to the channel here, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.